It's day 8051 of the lockdown. And I need a haircut. That's neither here nor there. Today I'm here to talk to you about comics. I went to my local comic book store Heroes at the beginning of the month and picked up my monthly assortment, and it wasn't very much. There was only 5 issues, so we'll get into them right away. The first 2 are Turtles related. The first one being episode, I always call them episodes, issue number 6 of the Jenica 2 series. So in this one, that mutant antelope, I think she is, that was the wife of the former mob boss that she had Jenica put a hit on and kill the guy, has taken Jenica captive and is trying to get her to work for her. And in order to do so, she's like threatening the well-being of her own son, Junior, who Jenica wanted to save from this woman's influence after she figured out she was batshit crazy, right? And so this woman lets Junior and Jenica spend time together in an effort to try and get her to come around. And so Junior and Jenica talk a lot, and Junior knows about Jenica's past when she was a human and she was an assassin, and she knows that she killed his dad. And they form a bond and get past these feelings and start to really come together. And eventually they've come up with a plan. Jenica says, okay, I've changed my mind. I'll do my bidding for you. And whatever. And then Jenica and Junior stage a little fight between the two of them where he doesn't want to be around Jenica anymore. He's mad at her for killing his dad, and he hits her and stuff like that. So then the lady's kind of convinced that, okay, this is legit, right? And so then it's all an engineered escape attempt. So Jenica uses this distraction to break free, beat down this lady's guards, take Junior and get the hell out of there. And then eventually they lead this lady and her goons on a merry chase through the sewers and lead them right into the city out of Mutant Town, where they pop up and the FBI descends on her and they know who she is, and she's out of the picture now. So Jenica ends up giving Junior over to April, who's gonna kind of take care of him, I guess, or whatever. And in the meantime, there's still some stuff going on with future Lita, who's still in town, and she deals with Raph and a couple of the other turtles, I think, on dealing with feelings of how could we let things in the future get so bad that, you know, you had to come back and get us to do these things and whatever, right? Or no, is that from the other issue I'm talking about? Yeah, no, that's from the other issue. Never mind. That's how it ends. I'm getting my 2 Turtles issues intersected because they both deal a lot with Jenica. So, so speaking of the next one, it's number 116 of the ongoing Turtles series. So in this one, if you remember in the last one in 115, the gauntlet was thrown down for the battle of the bands between Bebop and Rocksteady's band and Jenica's band, which is yet to be formed, for control of Mutant City, and whoever loses has to get the hell out. So first things first, Jenica has to form a band. So she goes looking for people, and she makes amends with the Porcupine Mutant who she had a scuffle with, recruits him to be her drummer. And then she goes and makes good with a couple of the other people that she's kind of crossed, including, I think it's a warthog maybe who's going to play guitar, an orca whale that's going to play the bass, but they still need a singer. And eventually the bird, Koya, mutant, they eventually get, I don't know if it's him or her, but to be the vocalist. So, and they start jamming and coming together as a band. And in the meantime, this is what I'm talking about, how future Lita starts talking to Raph about the feelings of, oh, how could we let things get so bad in the future that you had to come back here and make sure we took down these guys and whatever, right? So, yeah, and then in the end, they head off to the Kennel Club and lay the gauntlet down to Bebop and Rocksteady, and it looks like the Battle of the Bands is about to begin as the next issue kicks off. I believe that's where everything's leading. So we'll have to wait another month to see how that unfolds. Next up are a couple of G.I. Joe issues, and if you remember from my last video, right now they're going through a phase of kind of one-off issues that are dubbed untold tales. It kind of reminds me of back in the day in the 80s when I was into the G.I. Joe comics back then, the original ones. They had the regular G.I. Joe series, and then they had a smaller series that didn't go for that many issues. I think it only went for around 29, 30 issues or so, called G.I. Joe Special Missions. And they were kind of these more out-of-the-way missions that weren't part of the main storyline. They all tied in and stuff, but they weren't told in that main storyline, and they were kind of one-off kind of special stories sort of thing. So that's kind of what these Untold Tales issues remind me of. And the first one is number 279, and it takes place in the fjords of, what was it called again? Frusenland? Something like that? Yeah, Frusenland, where Cobra had built some terrordromes, and the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier, the USS Flag, is in the vicinity, and both forces kind of launched an attack on each other. Cobra ended up hitting the Flag really hard, ruining the elevators on it and stuff, so the only aircraft they have is what was left not destroyed on the actual aircraft or carrier deck. So any of the aircraft that's stored underneath, even though they're all in working order, they can't get them up because the elevators are broken and whatnot. Meanwhile, the Joes hit the terrordromes pretty hard, but Cobra still has a fortified hangar set into one of the cliff faces that still has a number of Cobra Rattlers and whatnot, and I forget what the other ships are that they have. There's two different kinds, but it's all about the Rattlers for me. And so it's basically both sides are scrambling to get at the other side and finish them off before the other one can launch a counterattack sort of thing. So we got Ace in the Sky Striker, Slipstream in, I forget, the one with the reverse wings that has the mouth on the front. And then an unidentified pilot that's in some sort of futuristic craft that can go stealthy and go get off radar. So the Joes are coming towards Cobra. Cobra in the meantime is trying to launch the rest of their ships from this fortified hangar. So the Joes want to get to the hangar and destroy it before they can unleash their ships. They get there, but not in time. So they kind of have to. The three ships have to split off and do different objectives. They still want to hit the hangar so that Cobra can't launch all of their craft. So one of the Joes takes care of that, while the other two peel back and chase down the Cobra ships that are heading back towards the Flag to try and finish it off and put it at the bottom of the sea. So so it's just kind of a race to see which side will be able to polish off the other before the other one can do the opposite to the other side, sort of thing. So pretty cool issue. Went really fast because it was all action, which I like, and lots of good artwork too. Next up, number 280. This one focuses on the Baroness, her and Wild Weasel. It takes place after, I think it said, issue 34 of the ongoing G.I. Joe series, and it features Baroness and Wild Weasel in a Cobra Rattler that's all beat up and it's barely limping home. They basically crash land at some sort of Cobra facility where Destro has a fire team on hand to greet them because the ship basically explodes as they land and they have to be rescued. But Baroness has no time to rest or recuperate afterwards because Destro says, "You got another mission, hun. You're going to Paris." So she goes to Paris and meets up with Major Blood, who is on a bit of a power trip there. Uh-oh. Hey! Oh! Did you see the snot fly on that one? I'm at home. I don't have to sneeze into my elbow. I can sneeze all over myself. 'Cause we're in lockdown. Ah! Anyways. Major Blood is on a bit of a tear. He's on a power trip. And Baroness has kind of been sent to rein him in. Soon enough, Major Blood puts a hit out on some sort of a cabinet minister or whatever for a nation called Barovia, who Cobra is trying to get into bed with. But Major Blood has been bought off or something like that to try and kill this guy. So he, as this guy's being transported in an armored limo or whatever, Major Blood and his goons stage this attempt to take this guy's life. But Baroness intervenes and basically deflects Major Blood from doing this, and the two kind of have a standoff at the end where the both of the two walk away and agree to settle things at another point in time. So that's it for the two G.I. Joe issues. Both really quick moving issues, full of action, and yeah, I can't wait to see what next month's adventures bring. Last up is my favorite of the bunch, and it's obviously a Transformers related issue. And it was actually an issue that I thought I had, but I did not. So this is what happens when you get old, kids, and your hair looks like this. You start forgetting everything. So before further ado, it's issue number 2 of Transformers Back to the Future. So if you remember from last month, I went over issue number 3, thinking I had read issue number 2, and not realizing I hadn't. So when I called in to see which issues I was getting this month, because you have to do everything curbside now, so I always call in the day before I go just to see what's in there and make sure there's nothing missing or there's nothing that's been repeated. I got them to see, do you have a number 2 of this on the rack? And they're like, yeah, we got one left. So I was like, throw it in. So in this issue, so in the first issue, you know, Doc Brown and Marty McFly were up to their future time machine thing, and Doc Brown went into the future, not realizing that there's a Decepticon named Rumble who is interested in this time machine they built, and he's going to make things real friggin' complicated for them. So at the beginning of issue number 2, the Transformer known as Gigawatt, which is the DeLorean, reveals itself to Marty McFly coming back from the future. And Marty's like, what the hell are you? So he's trying to fend this thing off, not realizing that he's actually an ally. But soon enough, Starscream shows up and starts blasting the both of them. And Marty quickly realizes that, oh, okay, no, that's the bad guy. This guy's a good guy. And he also realizes that his skateboard is a small Autobot named Skills, who helps take the fight back to Starscream before Skills, Marty, can jump into the DeLorean, into Gigawatt, and they can get the hell out of there. So their destination is a secret hideout at an abandoned mine where the Autobot resistance is hiding in the future. I think 2015 the year is or whatever. Although it's not, it's the future from 1985, not from right now, obviously. And where there they meet Rodimus Prime and Bumblebee, and they kind of explain the situation to Marty that the whole situation is kind of Doc Brown's fault. When he went into the future, Rumble hitched a ride with him, but he was damaged. And so Doc Brown was like, holy shit, a walking, talking robot, I'll fix you up, no problem, right? Not realizing that this thing is an evil being, right? So then Rumble's like, thanks, pal, and they become kind of friends. All the while, it's all an act for Rumble. And so then Rumble helps Doc repair the time machine, simply because Rumble wants the time machine technology, and is going to use it for, obviously, Decepticon purposes. So once Rumble turns on Doc, he uses the time machine and whatnot to and the human slaves that he's got working for him to eventually break into the Autobot Ark and revive only the Decepticons that are within the Ark. And Megatron comes back to life and starts his reign of terror. And meanwhile, Gigawatt he's unofficially a Decepticon because he's kind of been revived by Rumble and is going along with Rumble and now Megatron, of course. But then Gigawatt kind of sees how Megatron treats not only the human slaves he has working for him, but his own forces, where Megatron vaporizes human slaves when they don't want to work. He vaporizes Rumble suddenly because his usefulness is at an end, and Gigawatt's like, whoa, this is not the team for me. So eventually he engineers an escape attempt, and but in the process, his flux capacitor is blasted when Megatron tries to destroy him during this escape attempt, and he's kind of injured, and then that's kind of where the issue ends off. And actually, the last sequence in the issue is kind of right where issue number 3 begins, when George McFly and his wife, is it Martha? No, it's not. I'm thinking Marty. I forget Marty's mom's name. But anyways, the McFly parents are slaves to Biff, the human overlord of the slaves, and the Constructicons that are whipping them to make the energon cubes and whatnot. And they're about to be kind of zapped by I forget his Scrapper maybe, and that's when Doc Brown fucking zaps Scrapper and is like, join the resistance, we'll take these Decepticons down. And that's where issue number 3 started, if you remember last time. So yeah, it was nice to get number 2 and read it for real this time. It's hard getting old because you forget everything right after you do it. So it's like, yeah, I have issue number 2. I read that. No, I don't remember it, but I don't fucking remember anything anymore. So, you know, but it is what it is. But I'm glad I've got it in the collection now. And yeah, we'll see what next month has to offer. Issue number 3 took a long time to come around. So I'm not expecting next month to have the 4th, and I believe it's the final issue in this miniseries. I hope I do, because I love all the Transformers crossovers they're doing. Like, I'm not a fan of Star Trek at all, but I really like this Transformers Star Wars or Star Trek crossover just because it was so bizarre and interesting. And then of course the Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, and then there's another one I'm forgetting about. I love how they're doing that. It's such a way to just take more money from Transformers fans, but take it. Please give me more. So yeah, we'll see what next month has to offer, but this one was a small one with only 5 issues. Hopefully next month will be a little bigger and better. Till then.